Hello, everyone. It's Thursday, October the 10th. I'm sorry we were a little late here getting going. There's a couple that just, wanted to see me, and I knew their daughter. There's way too many of these situations, but their daughter was surely not very old, and an adult, but they lost her, with a drug overdose, fentanyl, and just tragic beyond belief, to tell you the honest truth. But with all that being said, they want to talk to me, and they're good people, and I just hate it, and I hate it really bad. But all that being said, the bottom line of the whole thing is just this, and our young people, please listen to me. Please listen to me. This is happening all the time. Across this country, it's happening multiple times, probably a day. But, it's happening all the time in our state. And this situation at our southern border, and you may say, well, why blame that? Well, for crying out loud, are you kidding me? We all know the situation in the fentanyl that's just coming across our southern border and has come across. It's just awful. It's just plain awful. But nevertheless, I'm sorry we're late, but I've been here talking to those people. So anyway, yesterday we did a celebration over at the education, folks, their building and everything, and we celebrated again. It gave me an incredible privilege to see Kathy celebrating 55 counties that are in communities and schools, or have communities and schools now, and and so a lot of wonderful stuff. 38 therapy dogs, and Kathy gave a little talk, and one thing we can say anything you want, but I'll promise you, I love kids, and I just love them beyond good sense. But Kathy Justice does too. And she absolutely was all choked up and everything. They showed a couple of little videos that of the different things that we'd done, or that Kathy had done with communities and schools, and with the therapy dogs, and all really great stuff. Like I said over and over, if there's a program anywhere in the land, especially in the state of West Virginia, that's worked better than this program with our kids, I'd love to see it, because boy, this has been a home run right here. You can just imagine, just stay with me just 1 second. Just think about this. If you'll go to a school that's a Communities in Schools school, and you will ask them to see, their site coordinator or whatever like that, or the room that they have set up, where they've got supplies that they give to kids all the time. Kids that don't have a toothbrush, or kids that are hungry, or kids that don't have a coat and it's cold outside. It's just unbelievable. Or kids that just want to talk, or kids that may have been disruptive in the classroom that were affecting many other kids, or kids that didn't want to come to school. And now, attendance is really on the move to the good side. You'd see a program that is truly at work. If you don't buy what I'm saying, go to a school. Just go to a school and check up on exactly what I'm just saying. If it doesn't touch your heart, you don't have a heart. Absolutely, this program is working. And it has done so much, and I don't know the total number, but it's in like 115,000 students, and in like 200 plus, maybe 270 schools, It's unbelievable. So from that standpoint, I want to sign a bill right now. This bill was House Bill 201. And this is in regard to communities and schools. We just got, funding from the House and the Senate and everything, $10 million going to communities and schools. And we need absolutely, when Kathy and I are long gone from the office of governor and the office of first lady, we need to keep this going because this is a winner. This is a super winner. So I'm going to sign this right now. And this makes it all official. And these are all original signatures. So thank you to our Senate leadership under President Craig Blair, and thank you from our Speaker of the House, Roger Hanshaw, and all those members. Thank you so very, very much. You're doing good stuff. God's work in many ways. Let's just keep the good stuff going in West Virginia. So thank you so much. Okay, today I'm announcing more grants, the distribution of over $16 million in Victim of Crime Act grants that we have to 82 projects throughout the state. 5 of the top projects are the Branches Domestic Violence Shelter, $678,000, $673,000 to the Eastern Panhandle Empowerment Center, $662,000 to the Rape and Domestic Violence Information Center, $614,000 to the Women's Aid in Crisis, and $563,000 to the Comprehensive Women's Service Council. And so I'm going to provide. Excuse me. I'm going to provide my signature, which releases all these funds, and I guess this is the letter, and I'm going to do that right now. And here we go on this one. So that's done, and we've got $16 million going out to the victims of Crime Act, and so that's good stuff too. Really, really good stuff. Okay, looking back real quick, special session was a grand slam and then some, 38 bills passed, I hope everybody understands just, that we had one whale of a plan. It wasn't like we didn't have a plan. We had a whale of a plan, absolutely from a supplemental standpoint, whether it be for infrastructure or broadband or economic development, on and on and on, EMS, everything under the sun. It was like I said, it was a slam dunk. I think well in excess of $650 million, that's going to go out to the benefit of all kinds of folks and communities across this great land of West Virginia. And in addition to that, we got a 2%, additional personal income tax cut. And just think about it. You may say, well, the 2% didn't amount to a whole lot of money and everything. Well, it doesn't. Or does it? Now, just think with me just one second. It amounts to about $46 million. Well, $46 million going back in the hands of all West Virginians, what will they do? They'll spend it probably. And then the multiplier effect of that $46 million, I mean, if you're just anybody that knows anything about business, they'll tell you that the multiplier effect is probably 10 times. So 10 times turns into $460 million. It's going round and round and round in our economy, and that's good stuff. That's really, really good stuff. But that's not the reason. The reason why it's so good is just this. Now the world knows we gave a 21.25% reduction in your personal income tax. We got that done. And then we turned right around and we triggered another 4%, and we got that done. And now we're going to do an additional 2%. What does that tell the world? It's so simple. It tells the world that West Virginia is committed to getting rid of their personal income tax. Now, if I'm somebody out in the world and where I happen to live, you know, crime is rampant, on and on and on, and I'm looking and I'm saying, you know, this West Virginia place has got the 4 most beautiful seasons on the planet. It's got really what looks like really good people. They're faith-based people. They're low-crime people. Absolutely, it's located within a rock's throw of all these population centers. Why not West Virginia? They're on the way of getting rid of their personal income tax. Absolutely, it looks to me like a place that I absolutely can call home and love more than I can imagine. That's the whole reason. That's the whole reason for the 2%. I'm very thankful to the legislature. I think they did great work. And boy, what a slam dunk. 37 bills passed. Really good stuff. Okay. We sent 40 members of the National Guard down, you know, on the hurricane that was going to hit Florida again. And gracious sakes, all up and down the East Coast, you know, from the standpoint of North Carolina, you know, South Carolina, Florida, you know, I'm sure places in Georgia, even, you know, Mercer, McDowell, and Wyoming County in West Virginia. We all know what it's like, these terrible storms. Now, so with all that being said, if we can help, sure to God above, we want to try to help. To be perfectly frank, it looks to me like the storm, you know, moved across very quickly. And from that standpoint, it didn't seem like the storm surge was as bad as it could have been. You know, at one point in time, this storm, you know, had 182, maybe even higher than this, but had 182 mile an hour winds and was a Category 5 storm. And then it was, you know, downgraded to Category 4. They thought a Category 4 storm was going to hit the west coast of Florida, and absolutely, I am here to tell you, the devastation could have been unflat believable. So to our National Guard, you always step up. You're the greatest of the greatest in my book, and we thank you beyond belief. Now, on a little bit lighter note, in fact, a whole lot lighter note and everything, we're doing our trout stocking. We're doing our monster trout stockings. And if you just happen to happen to reel in one of our monster trout, and, you know, and believe me, B, you got some great big fish out there. That's all there is to it. Bigger than this fish right here. But with all that being said, you know, they're beautiful beyond belief. And if you happen to reel one in, submit your entry to the WVD, West Virginia DNR, you know, website and everything, because that'll put you eligible for cabin stays and stuff like that at our state parks. And so, you know, or different prizes from Cabela's. It's good stuff. And so get out, enjoy the unbelievable outdoors, and know this too. Here's another thing: we're stocking the Elk River again. You know, we're going to stock 750 additional rainbow trout each month for a total of 1,500 additional fish. We're going to do 2 stockings, one in November, one in December. That's in Webster County, and it's the second year in a row. Bringing another stream online here. That's wonderful stuff for our anglers and the great people of West Virginia and their great visitors. Turkey season's coming in this Saturday, and so, like I said, be super safe if you're turkey hunting and everything, but get out and enjoy there. In our paranormal trail update, we've had 4,300 people sign up, and 800 people already have checked in at multiple locations on the trail. You know, Chelsea Ruby and her and the folks at Tourism, what a wonderful job they do, and you know, just continue. This will be fun for a lot of folks and everything, and go enjoy. You know, we had a great celebration on October the 7th, our Roads to Prosperity. That date, you know, and I've got to say this real quick, okay? I hope to goodness that the legislatures to come will consider making October the 7th in the state of West Virginia a holiday. I want you to look right there. There are 1,382 folks right there in the reflector vest. And what they're there for is to symbolize on this day, October the 7th, when we voted to pass our Roads to Prosperity by almost 73% of the vote. We passed it. An absolute referendum that said we're going to put, you know, somewhere between 5 and 6 times the biggest of the biggest of the biggest road bond referendum passed. Now, with all that being said, everybody says, oh, well, you know, we'll have to raise taxes more and we'll have to do this and everything, and we didn't do it, did we? Absolutely, it became just a home run of home runs. This was a total surprise to me. I absolutely never imagined that these people were there like this. And really and truly, I drove around the back of the Capitol and they stopped my vehicle and said, just look between those trees right there. And then I saw it. You know, it was amazing, amazing beyond belief. You know, I really wished that all the media outlets around would have been there, not for me, but really to see and really to interview the folks that were there. Because those folks often on a daily basis are out putting their life on the line to be able to do the great work to our roads and help each and every one of us. And they deserve all of us to be there, because this day triggered all the goodness that's happened in West Virginia. Really and truly, if you'll just be fair, you know, we went from bankruptcy to beyond belief to surpluses off the chart. Now that's what's happened to West Virginia. Job opportunity, tourism exploding, helping our parks, on and on and on, making our roads to where you just didn't have to worry about tearing your vehicle all to pieces to try to get to the convenience store. There's been so much goodness, and those people right there, each one of them had a sign of a project. I think it was 1,382 or 1,320, but 1,300 plus projects that have been done under Roads to Prosperity. The magnitude that happened from this, tens of thousands of workers, the tax revenue, the changing of our image, all the different things that happened here are unflat believable. But it all started right there on October 7th, 7 years ago. That day we should always, always remember in West Virginia. And we should remember it not for me. You should remember it for Toby and Edith that stepped up and said, by God, I'm voting for it. Because I absolutely believe that Jim Justice and all those that are telling me will get this done. It won't raise our taxes. We didn't do it. We didn't raise the taxes. Absolutely, it has been an incredible success. So thank you to everybody, especially thank you to all those folks right there. They're holding their signs up of the jobs that we've done, the projects. It's unflat believable, unbelievable. And I thank them. I thank them for the work they've done every blooming day. And that's what we should all be doing. James Bailey, our Secretary of Commerce, is moving on and everything to the private sector and everything. James is going to take a job as an attorney, and James is a very qualified man, and has done a great job at Commerce, and he worked here in our office for a while and everything. He's done a great job. We wish him the absolute best of the best. James will be one successful man as he goes forward. So for him, his family, and everything, I couldn't be happier, to tell you the truth. So what a job he's done, and it's all really, really good stuff. So the only other thing I have, and I'm sure you'll ask me about this, is what's going on with the Greenbrier. And believe me, B, I'll tell you in just a few minutes that this is just a procedural thing. We've got a good relationship, and we're on track, and all this will be taken care of just as it's supposed to be, retired and taken care of by the 24th of the month, and all that's in process, and it's been in process, and everybody knows that, but there does have to be procedural things that take place and are done. So this is nothing but that. Anyway, nevertheless, please ask.
Thank you, Governor. We'll now take questions from members of the media. First up today, Mark Curtis with Nexstar Media.
Good afternoon or good morning, Governor and fellow reporters and staffers. And Governor, just let me follow up with a question about the Greenbrier, because we did get the statement from Steve Ruby about this just being a procedural matter, the attorney that's representing you. But talk about the sentimental part of the Greenbrier. I mean, to a lot of people, the Greenbrier, the image of that building is like what Mount Rushmore looks like for South Dakota. So how important is it, whether it stays in your family or whether it eventually goes to someone else? How important is it that business stay in business in West Virginia, and how important is that to the image of the state nationwide into tourism?
Mark, it's incredibly important. That's all there is to it. The most important of all is it's incredibly important to nearly or above 2,000 people. What's happened here, in my opinion, was nothing but political. It's cost my family a pile of money and a lot of agony, and I don't need anybody to, offer up sympathies to our family or me. I don't have time. I surely appreciate, but at the same time, I don't need that. It's something that we had to deal with, and it came out of the clear blue nowhere, and it was political through and through. I don't care what anybody in the world says. It was just flat. That's all there is to it. And so our family's dealing with it. This is nothing but a procedural matter. It will be taken care of as scheduled. And the Greenbrier is really, really, really important to our family. We love the Greenbrier. We love the employees. I think for the most part, they surely love us, and they've got a confidence in us, and I hate like crazy for them. When stuff happens like this and there's uncertainty and stuff that's not good. So all that being said, there's plenty of bumps in roads and everything, and this one is not a bump in the road. This is a purely procedural matter, and unfortunately, there has to be notices and whatever, all that kind of stuff, but we are dead on track. This has to be retired. It was, to me, a big lick and very unfair, and came out of the clear blue nowhere, and from a political standpoint, 100%, and it's costing our family a pile of money, and but it's, we're on track to take care of it. It'll be taken care of, and then we'll go on down the road.
Thank you, Mark. Next up is Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with W News. Governor, I have another follow-up question about our tax cut. When the legislation was up for debate in the House, Delegate Chris, the chair of finance in the House, talked about how we were going to pay for it. He said 19 million of the 46 million is going to come from a soon to expire revenue bond, and the remaining 27 million was found with the consolidation of the DHHR as part of their old budget. What can you tell us about that $27 million? Thank you.
Charles, what I think I can tell you is that there's bonds that are being paid off and efficiencies that were spread out all over government and everything. We found ways, jobs that were posted and everything that we did not need to fill, things like that. And I really don't know more than, that there was, the Democrats tried to misrepresent some of Larry Pack's remarks and in regard to the DHHR, but we're not going to take funds away from DHHR, and we're not going to do this and that and everything. But there are efficiencies, and we continually look for those efficiencies. But absolutely now Charles, you know me really well. And Charles, do you honestly think that I'm going to pull something away from somewhere else that's going to genuinely hurt someone or hurt an agency, or hurt folks in a program or whatever? I'm not going to be a part of that. There's no chance on the planet I'm going to be a part of that.
Thank you.
Charles, there are jobs that we do not have to fill, and there are inefficiencies that we can clean up and do better with and everything without hurting anybody. Let me add one other thing.
Yeah.
It's vacancies, Charles, that have primarily that have been on the books for years, and so that we just don't need to fill.
Thank you, Charles. Next up is Curtis Johnson with WSAZ.
Hey, Governor, thank you so much for taking my question here. Just wanted to follow up with regards to a couple questions about the Greenbrier. Obviously, I know you have said this is a procedural move and such, but given that it's been 7 weeks since the settlement was announced, has your family or the Greenbrier made any payments towards satisfying that amount? And if so, can you say what percentage has been paid? And on the whole, why hasn't this been taken care of already? Why wait until the deadline? One other thing about the Greenbrier. We got some information regarding a possible transition of some portion of its operation to Omni Hotels. Is that accurate? And if so, what would cause your family to consider such a transaction? And where do those conversations stand if true?
Oh boy. Look, guys and ladies, I know y'all have got to ask the questions, but can you imagine this? Can you really imagine that, what would you do? What would you do if you were making payments? You had a 14-year working relationship with JP Morgan. You were making your payments and you were doing the things, and you had an arrangement with JP Morgan to where you had them paid down, and an agreement. You had them paid down to $9.4 million. And then all of a sudden a principal at JP Morgan that you'd been dealing with for 14 years, just out of the clear blue sky, he gets sick. And then of all things, he has cancer, he's getting chemotherapy, and he has a heart attack, and he's out of pocket and everything. And then, as mysteriously as it could possibly be, this loan was a $200 million totally unsecured loan. And then along the way, JP Morgan asked, well, can we do anything here? And and this was with Carter Bank and Mr. Carter, and they said, well, look, why don't we just give you a second on the Greenbrier? And we thought that was just as benign could possibly be and everything, because we were continuing to have this great relationship with JP Morgan, and we paid them all the way from $200 million down to $9.4 million. And then all of a sudden, Greg Guzelman got sick, and then all of a sudden, boom, you awaken the fact that your loan is sold to Beltway and sold for probably significantly less than the $9.4 million. Now, and then all of a sudden you're in a situation to where 2,000 employees are going to basically be destroyed. And you don't know what in the world to do. And with all that being said, then the next thing that happens is Beltway says, well, we'll settle with you, but we want $24 million. Honestly, imagine if it were you, what would you do? What would you do? And so we scrambled around, we scrambled all over the place and everything. We had payment dates that had to be taken care of. The first one was a $500,000 payment. The second one was I think like $1,300,000 or $1,200,000 payment. Both of them were, and that one had to be done by, I don't know what the date was, but it was maybe September the 15th, and it was done, and we concluded that and got them that payment maybe, 8 days before the date. And the last payment is the balance of the loan by October the 24th. And that's exactly what we're doing. 100%, that's what we're doing. Now, with all that being said, the other thing in regard to Omni, that's smoke and mirrors. That's just absolutely no way. No way. There is no way that Omni is buying a part of the Greenbrier, going to run the Greenbrier. There is no way. There is no discussion. There has been no discussion. And I don't know why in the world we run with rumors that the rumors, do you understand? Who does the rumor tear the guts out of? The employees. Those 2,000 people. That's who we're hurting. And we actually, in some ways, do we want that to happen? Do we really? Do we want such a thing to happen? This has been what I think is unbelievably unfair to us. And I believe without any question, it is 100% politically driven, 100%, because it came out of nowhere. How could you think of anything differently? 14 years we have had a great relationship with JP Morgan. Well, what happened? All of a sudden, I'm running for the state Senate or the U.S. Senate, and then right behind that, we have the primary. Once the primary is concluded, this goes right into motion. We don't know a thing in the world about it, and it happens. How could you possibly think of anything except politically driven? Look, if you really care and love what Jim Justice stands for and has done, then truly, I would ask you, because this has surely not been any fun, I would ask you to, any time we have situations that are really tough in my world, just like these folks that were in here earlier today, I always try to offer up prayers for everybody. And this really hasn't been any fun. This has been a really tough situation, because under most situations like this, I would say this didn't matter. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and everything else. But it was an enormous amount of money, and really and truly, it came out of nowhere. And on top of all that, the net of the whole thing was just this. I mean, just imagine, and then I'll be quiet here, but this was a building at the Greenbrier. This had nothing to do with the sporting club, had nothing to do with the golf courses, has nothing to do with the tennis stadium, has nothing to do with the chapel, nothing to do with the pools, you know, nothing to do with the grounds of Greenbrier and everything. This was a building, you know, the building that just happened to house the rooms at the hotel. The other thing is that building does not have with it the water tanks. So for all practical purposes, I don't know how the building could have even had water. It doesn't have the parking lot, it doesn't have the golf course, it doesn't have anything else with it. But what happened? What would happen if that building were sold? You know, well, the people that would have the building then couldn't operate because they don't have the golf courses or the amenities or water or the parking lots or whatever. The people that would have the building couldn't operate, and we couldn't operate because we don't have the rooms. 2,000 people would have instantly lost their job. So what did we do? We absolutely scrambled in every direction known to man and figured out how to get this done and pay them the money. Really tough, really tough. You don't need to ask me about Omni. That's absolutely ridiculous. And you don't need to worry about that we've paid the payments right as we were supposed to, and the final payments due on or before October 24th, and we're right on track to do that. That's what we'll do. It's not fair, not any fun, 100% political, whether you believe it or not. But life, I guess, from time to time deals you some really curveballs. And the other thing is, you know, I've done exactly what I said I'd do. I've stepped up. I've been your governor. I've not taken a dime in absolutely any way. Don't have any pet projects. And now I'm going to the U.S. Senate. And it just so happens that I could be the vote that flips the whole U.S. Senate. And so all of a sudden now we're dealt a curveball that was really bad, 100% political. I don't care what anybody says. That's all I've got.
Okay, thank you, Curtis. Next up is Beth Surgent with the Gazette-Mail.
Hey, Governor. Thanks for taking my question. On Roads to Prosperity, one of the first times I ever talked to you was at a town hall meeting in Point Pleasant. And then a few years later, we were cutting the ribbon on Route 35, which was massive for Mason and Putnam County. So anyway, just acknowledging that was massive. But my question, I just want to clarify, circle back to Mr. Ruby's comment on the Greenbrier and what you said. You know, you said this is a procedural matter in terms of that legal advertisement. And I just want to clarify, do you mean that has to do with the classification of the legal, like a class 2 runs twice, class 3 runs 3 times, and this is just, that's what you meant by this procedural thing? Thank you.
Okay, Beth, now I'm not a lawyer, but I think what is taking place is there are certain deadlines for advertising where they feel like they have to meet those deadlines of advertising, but it has nothing to do with us paying it off. It's just something that they feel like has to be made at a certain time. Now, I don't think they had to do that, but nevertheless, we've worked well with Beltway, unfortunately, but it's but that's what it is. It's an advertising date or notice date, but everything's on track on our end to finalize this thing on or before October 24th, just like how it's all set forward that we're supposed to do.
Beth, thank you. Next up is Brad McElhaney with West Virginia Metro News.
Hi, Governor. Good to see you. Any more information about your other dogs will be welcome. Also, I want to invite any comments you might have about PEIA's proposals to raise premiums and deductibles fairly significantly to meet its anticipated expenses. And finally, on the Greenbrier, a point of clarification. Is the specific amount secured or still being secured? Thank you. Hope to see you on this briefing again next week.
Well, you'll see me, Brad, and you know, I really think why should I disclose to Brad, you know, whether the amount is secured or being secured or more details about the Greenbrier? You know, absolutely. All I can tell you is, without any question, the balance of the amount will be paid. It'll be paid in full, and you know. But as far as details and everything, you can you can print or type or whatever it may be that, oh my gosh, we don't know if they've secured the money or not, and everything else. And I think that I think it's fair to say that the money's been secured.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Next up is Bob Aaron with WCHS TV.
Governor, I've got a math question and relating to the Greenbrier, one more here. Procedurally, apparently they had to place that ad just in case they didn't get paid, and they did it in advance. I think that's what you're saying. But how much money does have to go in there by the 24th? You made reference to $9.4 million. I couldn't tell whether you said 24 or $34 million. How much still has to change hands before this is all straightened out?
Bob, it's 24 million total dollars, and we've paid two payments that were scheduled, you know, or payments that were all set up. 500,000 was supposed to be paid by a certain date, and $1 million, I think it was $1.2 million or $1.3 million or something like that, was supposed to be paid at another date. We actually overpaid the second date, you know, not by a whole lot of money. It was $50-some thousand, but the net of the whole thing is the balance of that, which is like 22.3 million balance, is to be paid by the 24th of October, and that's what will be paid. Now, let me say this. Now, you know, just think about all the things that are going on in the world, and my concern about those 2,000 employees, and now we've got basically 5 questions out of 7 or 5 questions out of 6 that are in regard to the Greenbrier. I've told you over and over exactly what we would do, and it is exactly what we've done. I've told you that it's not very fair. I've told you that it's political 100%, and I've told you those things. Now look, you know, I don't need to really disclose, you know, confidentialities in our business, but I have. I've told you everything that I know. Now, I can tell you that it'd be easy. It would be easy for maybe, you know, myself or family members or employees to say, well, do you want this to fail? Do you really want it to fail? I mean, because the man's telling you exactly what's been done. He's telling you exactly what has happened already. He's told you absolutely that we're not going to go to an August 27th sale, and we're surely not going to go to one now. You know, I'm not going to throw away, you know, I'm not crazy enough for my family to throw away, you know, 500,000 and $1.2 million and not absolutely be in a position to be able to make the balance of the payment. Do you really think we're going to do that? You know, absolutely, we're going to do exactly what I told you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Governor, back to you for final thoughts.
I would say just this, that my final thoughts are just this. And, you know, you may not like what I have to say here, but we just went through a special session where projects all across this state, great work with our legislature and everything else on something that, you know, some of you reported we didn't have a plan. We passed 37 absolutely of our basically bills that, you know, in regard to $650 million and another gigantic tax cut in West Virginia. You know, if you add it all together, it's just unbelievable. You know, we announced great work with communities and schools and all the good stuff that's going on there. You know, we absolutely did great stuff here with the grants in our, you know, in regard to the victims of crime, and we talked about, you know, our National Guard going to help those folks in Florida or wherever it may be, and all the different things of our unbelievable tourism and wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff that's going on all across this state with our nature and our, you know, hunting seasons that are coming. We talked a little bit about 1,300 and some people outside, and the date that absolutely when all this happened. And what have we really primarily talked about today? The Greenbrier. The Greenbrier over and over and over. And why are we talking about something really and truly that we are right on target, paying off and doing exactly, paying off an obligation on something that I personally believe is 100% politically driven. All this unbelievable stuff that's going on, you know, all across our land and everything. And we're fixated really on stirring up more and more and more publicity that could do nothing more than just absolutely create an anxiety level with those 2,000 families and everything that work hard at the Greenbrier every day. It won't matter a hill of beans to me, because I know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to pay it off. We're going to pay it off. We're going to do exactly what we've already put in motion to do. It won't matter to me. You're not beating on me. You're beating on 2,000 families that do good work every single day. And we're in many ways just absolutely turning our back on the fact that there's lots and lots of good stuff going on. So if you choose to go that way or whatever, that's okay. I'll still try to do the very best I can, and I'll still love each and every one of you. And I've done that right along. You know, I appreciate the relationship that we have in lots of ways. I absolutely expect and know you've got to do your job, but in this situation, it's a little bit much right now, to tell you the truth. That's all I've got. Thank you.